Please stand for the invocation and the pledge. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may be reached a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, welcome everyone to our meeting. January 18th, roll call please.
Mrs. Lingo. Here. Mr. Parson.
Here.
Mr. Redding.
Here.
Mrs. Dosa. Mr. George.
Here.
Mr. Mueller.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
Okay, we have one absent. Keisha is not here. Would anybody like to excuse her from the meeting?
Make a motion to excuse Councilperson Keisha Dosa.
Okay, I have a motion to excuse Keisha, seconded by Ms. Lingo.
He always forgets my name.
Yeah, I've only known you for 30 years,
I
40
know.
years. Okay, all those in favor of said motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. You have before you the minutes of our last meeting. Somewhere I have them. Anyway, does anybody have any corrections?
I only have one thing. The second line on the minutes should say the invocation was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Okay, any others? Then I would ask for a motion to adopt as corrected.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes as amended. I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Redding has made a motion to adopt as amended, and Mr. George has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, the minutes are adopted. Correspondence. The only correspondence, everything in your packet you can read, but on your desk tonight was the reminder to file with the,
New people know about that? Do the new people know about it?
with the Ethics Commission. Don't forget to do that, council, it's very important. They come looking for you after a while.
Well, we gotta do this every year.
Guest and special events, none? Public input, anybody here like to address council? Yes, Karen?
Do it online.
Hi, Karen Arnett, 7373 Hickman. I guess I wanted to just bring some thoughts and suggestion to you, maybe something you've already thought of, but something that's been on my mind for quite a while. I will say that one thing we've learned over the past year is how we don't really have a lot of control locally over the property values. You know, it seems to be something that's guided by giant market forces. So we've seen the skyrocketing of, houses in resales lately. And I know that the city does a lot to protect property values, and I've been here at City Council for different discussions of ways to protect property values. Like, for example, we cite people for having tall grass, and the City Council prohibited tiny houses a while back. I was actually pretty amazed to look at the house sales that Ray collects in the office downstairs. He sort of keeps an album of all the sales. There was a house that was 877 square feet that sold for $135,000 recently. There were two that were 900 square feet, one of which sold for $115,000 and one sold for $160,000. And an 862 square foot house sold for $120,000. So those are just some examples. I feel like the thing that's been on my mind is that I know the city puts puts resources toward having somebody go around, Mr. Knight, and find violations of the property maintenance code. I'm just aware that our city has so little money, and that those kind of resources are very precious. And I also see that the people who respond to Mr. Knight's violations, letters of violation, are usually owner-occupants who care about the community. But I can also see, I've seen for years that he has zero success with the absentee landlords who are like operating an LLC as a shell, so we can't even find a name of a person that maybe owns the property. Some of our, there's somebody on my street who has just flat out refused to comply, and he's had, 2 vehicles. One of them is an ambulance sitting in his driveway for at least 15 years without moving them. No license, no registration. Anyway, I've seen an entire garage fall down from neglect over a period of at least a decade. I've seen a garage door on Adams Road that fell down and is just sitting there halfway up. There's so many cases of, an inability to enforce the property maintenance code either intransigence on the part of the owner, or they're just not available. And the letter that gets sent out to us when we do something against the property maintenance code starts by saying, in order to maintain a proud and vibrant community. So I think that in some ways I would argue that the effort to maintain a proud and vibrant community by sending these letters actually kind of works against itself, because the people who do care usually get pretty pissed off. I've heard so many people saying they're insulted by receiving a letter telling them their grass is high when they kind of knew that, and maybe for some circumstance beyond their control they didn't get it mowed in time. I know that's a moneymaker for the city, so you want to do that. But I just wanted to propose that you think about maybe putting some or all of that money that we're putting into maintaining a proud and vibrant community, which doesn't seem to be working, into having somebody part-time who's proactively working to do economic redevelopment of the business district. I'm seeing what's happening in College Hill. They've had, of course, a lot of the resources that the city of Cincinnati has to offer, kind of backing that. But the director of their College Hill Urban Redevelopment Corporation, Seth Walsh, he's done amazing things, as Kevin Wright did as director of the Walnut Hills Redevelopment Corporation. And both of them, when they started, were new graduates out of the University of Cincinnati School of Community Development. So, they're people who have tremendous talent and who accomplished a lot, but probably were hired for very little money initially because they were just out of school. So, I'd just like to ask that maybe you would think about that in, the future, that we could maybe find somebody with those kinds of skills to help build our business district. Now that Little Dutch is going, I can see how somebody like that, a redevelopment kind of person could help aggressively look for new business tenants, to replace businesses that are leaving here. So anyway, please just give that a consideration. Maybe you already are and I'm not aware of it, but I think that our community would really benefit a lot from a more proactive approach rather than just strictly a punitive approach. So that's all I wanted to put out there for you to consider.
Okay,
Thanks.
great food
Thank
for
you.
thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Anybody else like to address council? Okay, we're going to go on to committee reports. Business Partnership and Alliance, Mr. Young.
I did attend the Business Association meeting on the 10th. Dwight Moody was sworn in as the new president there. He thanked Kim for her years of everything she's done for the Business Association. And his theme this year is Connect and Grow, trying to encourage new members, businesses to join. Start off to be a short meeting and end up being a little bit longer. So Had some connection there. I've talked to Bill about a couple things with the church up here at the Pastor Andre Wally at the ETAC Lighthouse Church there in Compton and Perry. They do a food drive on Saturdays from 11 to 12, and they also do baby supplies and different things there also. So it's worth looking into. Gentleman there from the school district was there, and he talked about the Wi-Fi in the buses, and that should be up and running here very soon also. And then lastly, as probably everybody knows, and just heard a little bit about with Little Dutch going out, so that kind of, it's been a big staple in the community for a long time, so I know I'll miss going up there and seeing everybody, and I might lose some weight now. So, but I hate to see them go, for sure.
Yes.
But that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. Questions from Mr. Young? Okay, beautification, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
Finance, Mr. Parsons.
No report?
Parks, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
You're on here a lot tonight. Streets and safety, Mr. Redding.
Did not have a committee meeting, but as far as the street projects that I believe we're all aware of, Madison / Warner, is it? Or Madison Forest, I'm sorry. Compton and Hamilton. Did speak with Bill a little bit today, and things are progressing, some maybe not as quick as we like, but things are progressing. So don't see any major holdup at this point. So that's all I have to report, other than on the safety side, please take a minute to review the chief's document that was inside your packet. That's it for me, sir.
Okay.
I would like to add something on the safety side there related to the chief's letter. I did notice one thing stuck out really big on the statistics there, and that's traffic citations that were issued, well, there were quite a few. But I looked back to the prior 8 or 9 months, and compared to the last 3 years, we are way, way up on traffic citations. That's something that council here has been asking for. We've had residents come up to ask to have more citations issued. And I just want to commend the chief and the police officers that are doing this, and I hope they keep it up. We want to be known as a law and order type of community, and this is one thing that lets people know that.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Redding? Okay, schools, Mr. George.
Not really a report, but hopefully everyone's seen it in their email that we are all invited tomorrow night to the Mount Healthy High School at 4:30 to have coffee with the superintendent. So if you're able to make that, it'd be nice.
Actually, I just have a quick update. They changed it today to Zoom only.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so,
Oh, okay.
if anybody's interested, I can give them that information for the Zoom, but they're not gonna meet in
To
person.
when, I'm
tomorrow.
sorry?
It's a Zoom.
To a Zoom, they're not gonna do in
Zoom,
person.
oh,
Yeah,
Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. Bill, I'll get that information from you tomorrow then.
Okay.
Library, Ms. Dosa.
Nothing new to report, but I would just want to remind everyone that the library is still handing out meal boxes every Monday from 3 to 5 until June.
Mailboxes?
Meal.
Oh, meal boxes.
Yeah, food.
Yes, I apologize. That's it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Denise, you're up again. Urban Tree?
Urban Tree. I don't have a report, but Karen asked if we could get like a tally of people that might want her to come up quarterly and do a Urban Tree review quarterly. How do you guys feel about that? Oh, that's fine.
I want it.
I would say twice a year, with beginning of the summer and the end of the summer, or beginning of season and end of season kind of thing, but if quarterly would be okay too.
I'm okay with something like that, spring, fall, something like that.
Is that okay, Karen, spring and fall? Okay.
You're welcome to come, and
Something
if
else
there's something
comes
comes up, you could come up and talk to us, that's fine.
Yeah, the idea was really to just do a short, maybe 5 minutes or so, little education about our trees or trees in general, you know, just so that it would be, help you learn a little bit more, so that when another road project comes up for people, you know, we have some more ideas of how to take the trees into consideration.
So I guess you'll get with Bill when you want to do that, so you can get on the agenda. Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I have We Thrive listed here, but who did we,
I can take that, and then I sent Daniel, like, the information just so he can explore, and I wanted to bring that up tonight in my topic, that, you know, I really think it's up to council whether you want to keep that as a committee, or whether, you know, council thinks there's better need for a different type of committee to replace that. Since I already go to all those meetings, it doesn't matter to me. I just wanted to throw out options to you if you wanted to kind of shake up committee structure, if there are objectives that, you know, Mr. Young or Mr. Mueller, who just joined, were interested in pursuing, you know. So I shared the information. If you want to be We Thrive, that's awesome. If somebody
Okay.
else is interested,
I'll look
that's
into it,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take it away from anyone, but I do just want to throw out the idea that if there is something a little different, like economic development, et cetera,
Yeah.
that someone has an interest in, I will always be at the We Thrive meeting, so more the merrier, but at the same time,
I'd like to see it continue with a council member, just
Yeah.
even if they're a liaison, so that we get reports and keep abreast of what's going on.
Yep.
Because you have 2 years left,
yeah,
and then whatever you're going to do, you may or may not be here, I don't
right,
know.
right. That's true.
So,
So I'll send it to anyone else who's interested. I sent him the action plan that I sent all of you, so you
Okay.
can kind of look over what the goals for the next 2 years are, and then that'll be redone as well, and you would have input on those goals for the upcoming 3-year cycle. So if
Okay.
anyone else is interested in me sending that copy again, I will. It's not a problem. But we do have a meeting next Tuesday at Tecan Farm at 4 PM, which I know is kind of difficult for some people, so you're more than
Yeah,
welcome.
I won't be able to make that.
Yeah.
It'd have to be later.
I wouldn't either.
But I'll look into the email
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
sent, yeah.
And I'll have Jody, our community liaison, reach out to you to answer any questions you have about
Okay.
that as well.
Okay, sounds good.
And there may be a change in the meeting times as well. That's what worked for the people that were on it before. Ms. Moody was our council member on it before, and she was retired, so she was able to make
Right.
4 o'clock.
Right.
And I'm able to, because I'm out of school. But if there's a council member that joins that, whether it's you or someone else, we can always move the meetings.
Okay.
So I want to be flexible with council, so whatever you all wish. The next meeting is next Tuesday at 4 PM. The only update I really have with it is that the food program has been continuing at Tecan Farm, and I've been in somewhat regular communication with Healthcare Connection in recent days over a variety of issues. We're looking at behavioral health issues in the community, and some issues they're having as well, with some behavioral health issues that we're also seeing with the school. So kind of everybody's communicating. I talked to Bill about, they've had one issue with, specifically dental patients are getting frustrated in their lobby. They're understaffed, as most places are right now, especially with COVID. And, you know, people come in with a toothache and they can't be seen right away. It's a little easier to get agitated. So they've had some issues up there that they're trying to deal with, and kind of similar to some of the issues we've seen at the high school, and I've heard the post office as well has had some issues with customers becoming irate. So for the same reason, they're about 50% staffed right now. I'm sure, I've been missing mail, I'm sure many of you have as well. So we're trying to look at how to address that in a proactive way with Healthcare Connection. They're bringing in social workers and behavioral health specialists. They're also proactively retraining their staff in some de-escalation strategies, et cetera. And we're trying to figure out how to approach it from a whole community, not just each group trying to do their own thing when we're all dealing with the same problem. So trying to stay on the same page there. So that's really it for We Thrive. You just want me to move?
Thank you, Mayor. Fast food restaurants just lock their doors.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's been odd.
Yes.
It's been an issue this year with the schools and the post office and at the healthcare connection.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on then,
Yep.
Mayor's report, Mr.
Yep.
Wolf.
So with my report, I don't know if Bill mentioned the last meeting, but Don Herring has stepped down from Planning Commission. He served for 18 years, did an amazing job. So I'm going to be appointing a replacement in the near future. We don't have anything imminent right now, so we don't have to fill that until we know that we have the need. But I'm being proactive, and I emailed Kim Cremines and Jeff Plackey, the other two, aside from Bill and I on Planning Commission, just to make sure they were interested in staying on. And Kim has responded that she is interested in staying on. Jeff has not replied yet, but I just sent it today, so we'll see what he does. So I will either have one or two candidates for Planning Commission come to council for a vote, because that is my appointment, your approval. So just keep a heads up for that. I'm also gonna have like I'm gonna talk to Ray this week, some kind of form where people can email their interests. That way you can look at potential candidates, put a little broader net out there as well. We have some good people in mind already, but ask them to kind of send some things in. And then Betty Bullis from Fibonacci, she's also on Teakin Farm, also a member of the Business Association, or not Teakin Farm, on We Thrive. She has been working, a while back she worked trying to get a sign grant. This has been a while, and we ended up not getting that. But now she has been reaching out to Artworks to hopefully get us as one of their sites for a mural. And they actually responded pretty positively. So she is meeting with them next week to just kind of see what is next in the process. Both myself and Jody from We Thrive have offered to attend, but I also told Betty I didn't want her to think I was micromanaging. So if she wants me there, I'll attend the meeting with her. If not, then she'll attend and get the information for me to bring back to Bill and share with council as well. This is something we'd have to do as a community and decide where and, you know, what the right thing would be. Just some of the thinking we had, one of them was where Jewel Records used to be across from Goodies, where we put up that little shelter. It might be a nice mural of some of the celebrities that recorded in Jewel Records. There's a nice history there. That might be a neat thing to show our history. Something about the Underground Railroad would be really nice, right on Hamilton and Compton at Mr. Sauer's building, because that is an Underground Railroad stop. We'd initially talked about bringing back the old mural of the windmill that was at Little Dutch Bakery, but that seems short-sighted now. So these are just ideas. If anybody else has suggestions, there will be time to bring those as well. So just want you to know that Betty is moving forward, and it sounded pretty positive so far. They did that great mural on the old Brentwood Bowl, if you've seen it. They've done most of them downtown, but they also did that great one
There's
right
a
there.
lot downtown.
Yeah, so they're doing good things. It'd be great to have some vibrancy like that in our community. And the last thing, Karen brought it up, is with Little Dutch. I have been in constant communication with Chris, so I reached out to him and let him know that Bill and I were here to offer assistance if he needed help, you know, connecting him possibly with Urban Fast Forward to do kind of what Karen recommended, because we don't want to lose a bakery. We don't want to lose Little Dutch, but it's going to happen. We do think it's important to have a bakery uptown. And I reached out. He said that he wasn't interested in being connected with Urban Fast Forward yet, but it sounded pretty positive, because he said he's actually had a lot of people reach out to him. And some of them are very promising leads. They're bakers and want to run a bakery. So it does sound pretty promising right now. He has done a good job. He wanted me to assure council that he is going to, the plan is to maintain ownership of the building, sell the business and rent out the space, but keep the building so that he can make sure that it stays in good shape and is a positive aspect for the community still. He actually turned down one offer already. I don't want to put them on the spot, but a business that's pretty successful in a neighboring community reached out to him. And when he found out what they were interested in doing, they just wanted to do a commissary kitchen, where someone would basically just rent the kitchen space and then serve the food somewhere else, whether it's catering, food truck, et cetera. And Chris didn't think that would be good for the community, so he turned them down. So I do want everybody to know, as tough as it is to lose Little Dutch, Chris is keeping the community in mind. And then he and I are actually meeting on Thursday to kind of discuss where he's thinking of moving and how we can help him. So we have a meeting at 4 o'clock, and I'll keep you up to date on that. But I do think it's making good out of a bad situation. Hopefully we can get something in there and get something in there quickly.
That's very good of Chris to work like this to it.
It really is. He just texted me again tonight, so we're staying in communication, trying to help him out. And if he's open to having someone like Seth Walsh or Kathleen Norris, that Karen mentioned, we're more for it. Well, I'll make those connections and I'll bring everybody together. But right now, it sounds like he doesn't need it. So
Good.
Sounds promising right now. So I'll keep you abreast of that. And that is it for my report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Any questions for the mayor? Okay, city manager's report, Mr. Coker.
Thank you. Just to go back to what Cordell, it's actually Google Meet, not a Zoom. I just want to make sure, and you have to have the link, so just get a hold of me if you're interested. I can forward you that. Cincinnati Bells is wanting to do a ribbon cutting in regards to the Wi-Fi project that's been going on. I believe the first two is in the park, and Lake of the Woods, I believe, is who's going to go active first on that. They're wanting to make a big deal out of this. Lieutenant Governor, they're trying to bring in. They'd love to have as many council members as available as possible. So when they said that, I said, well, probably Saturdays are the best for most because it's hard. So they're looking at possibly February 5th or 12th. That's not a good media day, typically, and that's part of what they're trying to get out of this. So they're also thinking about the 3rd or the 10th, which is a Thursday around noon. So I'll keep everybody up to speed on it as it comes closer, but I just kind of wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, if I know ahead of time, I can take off.
Yeah, so as soon as we can find out information, I'll get it out. So next meeting, everybody needs to brush their teeth and comb their hair because we're going to have a photographer again. I mean, Cordell's been out for a while. He's been the only one, but we've got enough volume now, and he's going to do both some city employees. And I'd like to get everything consistent. It'll look different, so put on your Sunday best or whatever you're comfortable.
I like my old picture. I don't like my gray hair.
Yeah, you don't like your gray hair. We have to color it between now and the 1st. You got plenty of time. So just wanted to get that. He's going to start around 6:15, so if everybody could get here a little early and get it wrapped up before we get started, I think it'd be good to get that, and then we can get everything consistent then on the website. So.
And that is next meeting, correct?
That's February 1st, correct?
Okay,
Yep.
February 1st, thank
Yep.
you.
There's an email and a letter on the aggregation. Sometimes this stuff is frustrating because I think it just creates more confusion for people, especially when, they require us to send out, I kind of shared some of the language that was in the email. We're required to do this, but yet always in our contracts, there's never a penalty for anybody to leave when they're in our aggregation program, so they could do that. But we know we'll start getting some questions and whatever, but I just wanted to kind of make everybody aware that this is why it's happening. So look for that letter coming out.
That will also go to people that are not on
Correct.
aggregation, so
Yeah.
they can join.
Exactly, and that side of the program is good. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd say it's a smaller percentage, but yeah, it does create some confusion for the people that are already there. And even frustrating too, I know Ray and Alex were dealing with a person today. I mean, and it was our electric is with IGS, I believe, right? And they had somebody out soliciting and getting them to change, and it's like, it ended up being, I think it worked out and they were able to, after they did it, they called us immediately and they were able to go back, I think, and get it. But it's just frustrating. That may be something next time this comes around. Although, there's probably so many different contractors we could require, hey, once you're in here, we don't want you soliciting because it does create confusion. But anyway, something to think about down the road, too.
Bill, one question, right? I mean, anybody that does want to opt in,
Mhm.
they still get the rate at 3.487.
Yeah.
So, which is,
Great.
yeah, absolutely. it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it is. But those sales guys can convince people they can do better, so, but that's why they're in sales, I guess, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was in the packet. The other thing that, and I reached out and we played phone tag with community development because this year we are gonna get $25,000 in facade program where businesses uptown are gonna be able to get grants. And it's something that we need to think about, and if anybody on council is interested in doing that, I definitely want to tie in business association, and obviously we gotta have some kind of guidelines and some format of how we want to do it, the amounts, you know, what have you, but it's something exciting. We aren't gonna get the money until July, so we have a little bit of time, but community development's had a lot of turnover lately, and it seems like as soon as they get somebody in, they leave, and the last person left in November. So I've reached out and have played, like I said, phone tag, and I'm just gonna get some details on how they want to see that side of it work, they're on their end, and then how we'll do it, if they'll give us some money up front, or if it's reimbursable through them or whatever. So just something to think about if anybody has some interest, and if we wanna, you know, we can have it all come through council and, or whatever. So just, if anybody has thoughts, please let me know. We also are going to do it's a good outside event, something we started in 2020 and then didn't get off the ground, and that was Porch Fest. We reached back out to Betty over at the brewery, and Porch Fest, for those that don't know, is just a community event that has music and on different porches throughout town, and we really had some good momentum going on it, and then everything blew up. So excited to get that re-going. So you'll hear a bit more about it, and if there's interest, let me know. I'm sure we can always use a hand. Probably shoot for some time in August is I think where we were shooting last time. So, and then I'll just, one thing, you know, Ms. Arnett, I agree with her. Property maintenance is always a tough issue. If you send somebody a nice letter, they don't respond, you know, and I get that, and we've gone back and forth. But just a couple things. And I think what she's saying is true. There's a mix, and I think one of the things we talked about that we can start to move forward in with our Hilltop plan is, you know, is to work with the church to see if they want to contract with us to provide some of those services. We still have good resources, I think, with Urban Fast Forward. But anyway, but just to clarify, it's not a revenue generator. There's nothing that we do that is a generator of revenue that makes a profit in the city. Doesn't come close. My opinion is, if we were doing something like that, then it should be done in the private sector. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't offset some of this and try to recoup some of our expenses for, especially probably the biggest generator we have on that is grass. And, you know, we end up you assess a lot of those, but at the rate we're cutting, I mean, you know, the wear and tear on the mowers and so forth, and our guys too. So, anyway, I understand where she's coming from, but to eliminate that, to do that, I think would be foolish on our part. But there's always something that we can do to look to improve. So I just wanted to add that. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Coker. Anybody have any questions? Okay, move on to our ordinances and resolution. Oh, I'm sorry. Finance Director, Mr. Bauer. Caught myself before I got all the way through it.
December is in your packets. Let me know if you have questions. That's it.
Nothing else?
That's it.
Okay, just stretch that out a little bit.
I know.
Okay, ordinances and resolutions. We have no second readings on ordinances. We do have a second reading on a resolution. And that is resolution number 22-1177. Got that, Joe? A resolution requesting the county auditor to make payments of taxes pursuant to the Ohio Revised Codes 321-34. We had the first reading on that on January 4th. Scott, you want to update what this is for everybody?
Yeah, I think everyone was here last meeting, but this just allows us to request our levy money early. We don't plan to do it, but if the emergency were to arise, this would be the first step, and we're allowed to do it early. So this just would make it one less thing we'd have to do if, again, that emergency were to come.
Okay, everybody understand what we're doing here? Okay. That would would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 22-1177.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt. Mr. George has seconded. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo,
Aye.
Mr. Parsons,
Aye.
Mr. Redding,
Aye?
Mrs. Dosa,
Aye.
Mr. George,
Aye.
Mr. Mueller,
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, ordinance number 22-1177 is adopted.
Thank you.
We have no first reading on any ordinances or second readings. So that is all we have on that. Old Business Council. New business.
I have just one thing. We let our emergency declaration expire when we thought COVID was dipping and going away. So we don't see like an immediate need to do this, but if we need to again, I just want to put on everybody's radar that I may do another executive order, or if it ties to funding, you know, that we would be able to bring in testing, things like that. So if we determine it's necessary, I'll bring it up, and the way we did it last time, we would do it again. I would do the emergency declaration, but then council would have to approve and extend it. So if I did it, it would only be in effect until the next council meeting, and then you all would decide if you want to approve and extend it. So right now, we don't know of any funding
Right.
necessary, so don't know if it's really necessary, but I am seeing people do it. The county and the city of Cincinnati have both done it, so if there's a reason, I may do it and bring it to you. Just want to put that on your radar.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? New business?
I'm not sure if it falls under new business or Mr. Redding on streets. Hamilton Avenue, the project with redoing Hamilton Avenue, has there been anything studied as far as, with having a business on Hamilton Avenue and living almost right there, traffic, as everybody knows, is kind of crazy. I'm not big on signs and things, but I didn't know if there's any study or anything done of how traffic flows. It's treated like a 4-lane most of the time, then traffic merges over, there's everything that kind of happens and speed and things like that. So I don't know if there's anything that's been looked into that, or, you know, when the road gets done, is there any different lines that were going to be looked at or anything? Just asking. I don't know what falls underneath here or underneath yours, so just asking.
Well, right in front of your place, there's parking allowed,
Right,
but a little further down, there's no parking, it becomes 4 lanes.
right.
And that's what you're really kind of,
Yeah, and coming north, there's no parking till about my place again, across the
about
street.
Madison Avenue, yeah.
But, you know, if nobody's parked there, it's pretty crazy there.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it's,
And if it's parking lane, people a lot of times just use it as a driving lane.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's a violation, correct?
Yeah, it is.
A lot of communities are now doing small bump outs at certain sections, where there'd just be a small, like, piece of concrete comes out, maybe a tree in it, et cetera. I know Cincinnati's doing that in a lot of places, and,
Galbraith Road in North College Hill does it.
yes.
Yeah.
Northside has that too, on a couple
Northside's doing
places
it
down in
now,
Hamilton.
and then Northbrook, through Urban Fast Forward, just got a big program going,
Hate them things.
for that purpose. So maybe that's something we could possibly look into with the specs when we move forward, right?
Well, probably it's too late now for the state specs, but but kind of the things you're talking
Yeah.
about, it's something I think you could come back and add, or you could start maybe even with certain, like Paul and I talked about, every action causes a reaction, right? In
Right.
order
You
to do
lose
that,
parking.
you probably gotta lose parking, right? Which is always a premium. But maybe that's, maybe a spot or two is worth it, even if it's a striped area that might kind of at least start to keep people saying, hey, I can't be, again, you don't know. And then if that doesn't work, then the next progression would be something, you could come back in and add that concrete bump out, probably, as a different type of project. But, yeah, those are all, possibilities. But I don't think with this program, it's going out to bid in a month and a half. That thing's been 5 years in the making, I think, so.
Yeah, I mean, the bump out sounds pretty good, though. At some point, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if it was something that we wanted to do and we want to engage in it with a traffic engineer.
We would definitely have to do that with,
Yeah.
with the bus routes and everything else on Hamilton Avenue. We would definitely have to
Yeah.
get
So-
with an engineer and think about that.
Yeah, just-
Plan it, design it.
So whatever you guys think, I mean, just let me know.
Okay.
Well, I think it needs to be studied.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a good first step.
Well, you want me to get a proposal to see, I don't know, what something like that would cost? I'm sure to be something, and it's something that we probably want you guys to understand, and I mean, I think, is there a specific, like, we basically talking pretty much Adams South, we talking Compton South, we talking, I know Paul brought up where he's familiar, kind of more, what would you say, that's Stevens
Stevens
South?
South, or Stevens South, or really more north towards Compton.
Yeah, north.
I mean, it really goes all the way to Compton from,
So Compton South in both directions?
yeah, both directions. I think it's,
Yeah.
I think there's more people park coming south than they do going north. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I think the bakery does that. I think a lot of people park at the bakery
Yeah, the bakery.
in the morning and the afternoon, but
Maybe you guys sometimes, too.
So,
Yeah.
when you say proposal, Bill, are you talking about a proposal for an impact study? I think that would be the,
First step.
Yeah.
But just so I understand, are we talking about Compton Road south in both directions? Is that what I'm hearing? Not sure that's what I'm hearing. You just said
I'm
the
just-
bakery,
I'm okay with
because the
that.
bakery's north of there.
that's north, yeah. I didn't
just-
really think about that part of it. I just was throwing
Yeah,
out there.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe from, and I don't know, it's just thinking out loud here. I would have to say probably even further north than McMacken, and then south to south to Madison.
Just keep
Yeah,
in
I'm
mind,
just-
and
I'm
the
not-
bigger the scope, the
Bigger the
bigger the cost, the bigger,
Right.
South of
my
Madison,
thought-
there isn't parking there.
My thought would be if we could like hone in on a certain area where we could kind of do it and maybe start with babies. I mean,
Correct.
it's up to you. I mean,
Yeah.
You're coming from one lane, Springfield Township, into Mount Healthy. That's already one lane through Mount Healthy.
right to Adams
So,
Road.
yeah, so that's already
You're right.
kind of
Yeah.
Adams
taken
is-
care
yeah.
of.
From
It's-
Adams all the way to Stevens. It's
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah,
it.
so
Right
it's
after
coming from
Stevens, Yeah.
Ronald Reagan north.
It would be, probably then it would be Adams to Madison, I would think. There's off and on, I mean, there's parking in front of some of the businesses north of McMacken.
Yeah, and I agree. I think from south of Madison, it's,
There's nothing
That's already
there.
4 lanes,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
but they widened it down there to keep it a 4-lane
Yeah,
as
yeah.
they did, and that would.
to help that
After
turn.
Madison is where it starts to bottleneck. That's where everybody's passing on the right and
Yes.
trying to, because once it gets to Stevens, that's where everything's pretty much
All right,
striped as
Well-
one lane.
Madison
Yeah, I would say Madison.
to Adams.
Yeah.
Or how about I'll have them do that whole thing, and then maybe give us a price for to Compton.
I guess my first thought is
Or-
before we get pricing for what it costs, or again, when you're talking cost, you're talking an impact study cost. I want to
Well,
make sure we understand what the impact
No, what
is.
I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, we all can throw out ideas. I mean,
Yeah.
for them to give us guidance, to do a study to say, here's some traffic calming recommendations that you could do. You could do,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that it's not just, the car, they wouldn't look at this and say, yeah, cars are doing this. It's a scope of, here's some possible alternatives you could consider.
That's what I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I want to get a price of what it would cost for them to do that for us.
Absolutely,
Right.
yes, yep.
Okay. All right. I got it. Clear as mud.
Any other new business, council?
I make a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion by Ms. Lingo to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Dosa, did you speak up? We'll give it to you. Ms. Dosa seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.